Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome back to Our Healer, Our Protector with Ryan Reichert and Lisa.
And Lisa Sander.
All right.
Happy Tuesday.
It is Tuesday, and Lisa is merry and bright, it looks like. We're a few weeks
Keeping the spirit going.
That's right. We're a few weeks into January. How's everybody doing out there with, I don't know, is it New Year's resolutions? The new year,
Yep.
new me, new whatever?
Ryan, I got to tell you all, I have not been in the gym. I was going to get started, but I've been sick and I've been working a lot of hours at the hospital. So after our trip coming up, I'm going to start my New Year's resolution with that. So it's okay if you haven't started one yet, because you can start it, but I am going to start it and I will be accountable to all of you so I can stay accountable.
Yeah, you can't do anything about yesterday. And really, what's left of today, probably not getting after it that much, but maybe not. And
we're doing this podcast and I'm tired, but we're going to do this.
That's right. Sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do.
Tonight I was reflecting. I was telling you, Ryan, I'm like, I was going to wear my U of M shirt, my big M on my sweatshirt. And I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want the people that know us know we're from Minnesota. But then I was like, oh gosh, I don't want people to know we're from Minnesota. If anyone's listening out there that's not from Minnesota. And obviously there's a lot of talk about going on in Minnesota. And we're not going to really talk about that stuff. But you know what's crazy is all of that's going on and I've not seen anything. I feel like I'm in my own little bubble right now. And I'm like, is this happening in Minnesota? Without us even telling you what's happening in Minnesota, I know you guys all know. So we don't have to directly talk about it. But indirectly, I'm just telling you, I've not seen anything. I just want to pray for everybody, for the people that are walking around scared. I want to pray for our police officers, the ICE people. And when I say that, not everybody get all mad. I am praying for everybody, every single human being. I want everyone to be safe, follow the rules. It's plastered all over, and be safe. And if you don't have to be, I don't know. I'm going to probably get in trouble for saying this even. I just pray for everyone.
That's the dynamic of it. I mean, we all have our own opinion and stance on things, and the dynamic of it is right now, like when you're Minnesotan through and through, you're born and raised here, and that dynamic and a lot of things that happen, you're not that proud of all the way around what's going on in the state of Minnesota, the political side of things, the human side of things, that whole dynamic. And yeah, that's all we can say is that, pray for everyone out there and try to keep level heads. Level heads should prevail. And really, that's all we can do. Granted.
And I am going to say one thing now that you said that, because I've always been at peace. I don't want to be part of all of this, but everything that you've talked about, Ryan, about being kind, people, all of your hatred and unkindness, and if you spill it out, whether it's someone next to you or a police officer or an ICE person, or like, if you spill out unkindness and antagonize people from whichever point your stance at, like, we're all human. So when you are unkind and say mean words and you're cussing and swearing, I don't know what you expect back, because no one's superhuman. No one's Superman. No one has these special powers to be able to totally shut down your feelings. So hatred only brings on hatred. If you're going to stand for something, stand in peace. Retaliating and mocking and swearing and standing in some people's ways, like, it's not going to do any good. And what does it do to fill your cup up at the end of the day? Do something that is good for all. And if you have a strong purpose, like, do it the right way. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, I think kindness is a good stance to have. And, really, at the end of the day, that's for me. I've spent enough time in my life fighting. So moving on. Next slide.
Okay, next slide. Let's talk about relationships.
All right, let me find it here because my phone just closed up. But I saw this one this morning when I was on the treadmill, and I thought it was pretty good. So my grandfather told me these four things about marriage rules, and I think we just relationships in general. If you stop talking when you're hurt, the marriage will rot silently. Speak the truth even when your voice shakes. Two, love is not proven by words, but by daily effort. Romance fades fast when responsibility disappears. Three, never fight to win, fight to understand. Winning an argument while losing your partner is the worst victory. Four, if you don't choose each other every day, someone else eventually will. Loyalty is a daily decision, not a promise from the past. So I thought those were four, very solid, very pointed pieces to, not just marriage, but just relationships in general. When it comes to the first one there, talking, it's just communication. I mean, that's really what it is at the end of the day. Speaking the truth, like the truth hurts. I know I held the truth in for years because I didn't want to hurt people, right? And what did that do? That just prolonged the inevitable. It happens. That's why I say, like, not just in marriage, but like in all relationships, like what good is by holding back?
I just had someone talk to me at work today, and if you're watching, my friend, he told me something that I should share with other people, and it's like what we've said and how we tell our stories. To get your power back when you feel like your light hasn't been able to shine, and you've kept all your stuff inside because you have family that doesn't allow you to express yourself. When you can start expressing yourself, you get your power back. And I'm not talking about power like you are above everyone, just like the freedom to express yourself is so important, even if it hurts others or if you've been hurt. Like you said, Ryan, and like the grandpa said, you're either going to lose the person going out by not telling the truth, or you're going to lose the person by telling the truth. And once you rather have the chance to tell the truth to see if it could make a difference, then go out and not tell the truth and not help the relationship.
I think that's the
Does that
dynamic.
sound?
Just what you're saying is by not telling the truth, like you're holding your power back. That's the lie I think we all tell ourselves is that, we care about the other person so much that we don't want to hurt them. You're hurting them and yourself by not telling the truth. That's the simplest form of it, is really when we look about specifically being silent and not having the ability to express ourselves right there. I mean, that to me would say that doesn't matter if it's a partnership, a marriage, a friendship, any of those dynamics. Like if you have to water down the truth, like not discuss the truth, I mean, that's right there and then. That's a relationship that shouldn't exist because the two of you, I mean, certainly, well, you don't know unless you tell the truth. That's the only dynamic that you can ever know. And that's the simplest fact to really see one's actions. It goes to the second one, love is not proven by words, but by daily effort. If you're saying something, you don't know how that's going to, like, they could just take it and go like, well, I'm really glad you told me. I would much rather have heard that than not knowing about it. It could be the worst thing under the sun. You don't know until you do it. And what's the worst that happens? You lose that person? We're all
Well,
going to lose each other.
yeah, you could have had a chance to lose them anyways, because when you feel like you can't express yourself to somebody, you start putting up a wall and you separate anyways. If you really love somebody and you believe that person loves you, just give it your all and speak from your heart and how you feel. And then the person taking it, it's really hard to not think about yourself, but you literally got to take it in. We all got to take some accountability for what someone's perception is and how they feel. A lot of us have stories of growing up, and some people have trauma. So if you don't let that stuff out, it's going to bubble up until you push too many people away. You don't have anyone left. So just start letting things out. And the more you talk about it, the easier it's going to be able to talk about. And journaling, we say this over and over, write it out. Sometimes if you write it out, then it just kind of feels like, oh, you might see it as not so bad. And you can let your anger out on the sheet, and then you can talk more softly to a person too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think That's the side of it is really understanding too. It's just like you go down to three here. Never fight to win, fight to understand. Winning an argument while losing your partner is the worst victory. Yeah. It's not, you're not fighting each other. You're fighting the problem that exists, not fighting the person. So, if it's misunderstanding, like you're fighting the misunderstanding, not the person that's misunderstood. That's the whole thing about it. I think it's the realization, and this sometimes I think really goes back to that emotional maturity and understanding when it comes to communicating that it's not about your opinion, it's not about your stance. Sometimes it's just the dialogue
Hmm.
that's happening really between two people. Is Are you having a discussion kind of like we've talked in the past, like, do you want my opinion? Do you want how I perceive the fix to, the solution to said problem? Or is it just literally there to listen and take notes versus have anything to say about it?
Can you imagine if we could just all sit in front of each other, and if someone says something, you're like, you know what, that really hurt me, the way you said that. And then if you expressed it at the time, and then they're like, wait, how did I hurt you? And I didn't mean it that way. And to have that discussion at the time, then going home and sitting on it, it's really hard because when Ryan and I are talking about this stuff, like, it's not like we're not doing this stuff all the time.
Well, no, I think it's the prefacing of it. Like you have to preface it with the other person that I would like to have this conversation. It's not to hurt you. It's not to belittle you.
It's to understand.
It's to understand. When you said this is how I
And I took
felt,
it. Yeah.
and this is my, not the reaction I'm going to give, but like the dynamic of what I internalized, because today I can sit there and take from whomever the dynamic of certain things when people say it that I understand now. It's not a me problem, it's a them problem. And so that in itself becomes the dynamic of what are you willing to discuss, and understanding that you can't change the other person. You can only try to communicate in such a way that allows you to try to understand. Please
Can you
share.
imagine? Yeah. And Ryan, I'm thinking about this, but like how you and I are talking about this right now, like this is not how people talk to each other, like when they're in a
No,
misunderstanding.
absolutely
So it's
not.
really easy for us to talk about this, but it is something to pause and stop and be like, ooh, that hurt me. And then
Well,
why does that hurt you?
well, this is just an exercise like right now that we're doing for others to try to change themselves, right? Like those of you out there listening or watching this, is the ability for you to work on yourself. You can, like I said, I'm trying to echo that you can't change the other person, but you can certainly dialogue with them in such a way that, or the cool thing is if you're somebody that's not in a relationship, taking this into your next relationship. And that's what's even greater in it is the dynamic of educating yourself, educating others. So when it comes to communicating with yourself and with others, you really have that ability to take things on in such a way where, and you start to realize that though, that you're going to level up in your circle. So therefore you're going to have to move on out of your circle. That's just the side of it. Or your circle gets really small to the onesies, twosies that have the ability to hold themselves accountable. Kind of like Lisa started off with, the first 2 weeks of the new year, new year, new me, new whatever, things have been a certain way. It doesn't matter. You can start today. And that in itself is basically what I'm trying to share is knowing that there's certain people, who you can have conversations like this with. And then there's certain people that you just tolerate the 4 times a year that you go visit them kind of thing. And those are the dynamics you have. We make it more complex than it has to be.
Yeah, we do. And how we started off talking about being in Minnesota and what's happening in the world right now. Think about it goes back to what are you doing at home for your family, for your kids, and to teach them the right tools to go out to say the right things to like what's going on right now. When I talk about that, I've seen the videos. I haven't watched much of the news, and I'll scan the phone, which you're not supposed to do before you go to bed. You should like be off of it for an hour so you can sleep well. It's hard, right? You don't want to ignore what's going on in the world. But if we could all just start practicing it at home, then we can be more merry and bright out in the world.
I think that's a fantastic way to end this episode and move on to another week of having hope, having faith, having love, and just knowing that if we put the work in, things get better.
And I just want to say, Lord, I pray for everyone in Minnesota and everything that's going on around in the United States right now. I pray for peace. I pray for safety for everyone that's involved. And Lord, just put your arms around all of us. And I pray for people to make the right choices. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. Well, thanks,
Bye.
everybody. You have a great week, and we'll catch you next time. Check us out on ourhealerourprotector.com, and we love you all. Bye.
Bye.